Why Metro Manila is designed to fail.
If you want to experience the absolute worst traffic on the planet, you don't go to Los Angeles or Beijing. You go to Metro Manila.
Tama, o kaya sa Novaliches Bayan. Yung 15 minutes mong biyahe, gagawin nating 2 oras.
Within this sprawling metropolitan area of over 14 million people, the average commuter loses hundreds of hours each year just staring at the bumper in front of them. The economic devastation is staggering. The Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, estimates this city bleeds 3.5 billion Philippine pesos every single day in wasted fuel and lost productivity.
Oh my goodness. Do you guys believe that? 3.5 billion a day. Yun yung nawawala sa atin dahil sa traffic. I think valid no? Kasi kung mabilis mag-transport, yung mga products nakakarating sa mga destination, yung mga key people na nagtatrabaho, makakarating sa trabaho nila, tapos yung mga fuel consumption, feeling ko valid yung 3.5 billion a day. Like, i-accumulate mo lahat ng nawawala, no?
If left unchecked,
Dahil sa
that number
traffic.
will soar to an astronomical 5.4 billion pesos daily by 2035.
Oh my goodness.
According to the 2023 TomTom Traffic Index, out of 387 global cities, Metro Manila ranks dead last. Number 1 in global gridlock. It takes an average of 25.5 minutes to drive just 10 kilometers.
See?
An average driver here spends 117 hours a year completely stationary. That's enough time to read 48 books.
Monumento! I personally think na generous pa yung 25 minutes and 30 seconds para sa 10 kilometers. Sa totoo lang, kung peak ng traffic, ang cute pa nito. Let's say, Friday 5 p.m. 25 minutes, maliit to.
An average driver here spends 117 hours a year completely stationary. That's enough time to read 48 books just sitting in your car.
An average driver spends 117 hours per year nakaupo sa traffic. Gagi, ano mga pwede mo magawa sa 117 hours? Ang dami. Ilang araw na ng tulog yun kung itinulog mo na lang yun, no?
The simplest explanation you'll hear is a basic imbalance of supply and demand.
Okay.
The Philippines sold nearly 500,000 new vehicles in 2024. EDSA, the city's main artery, was designed to handle 300,000 cars a day. Today, it chokes on over 400,000. In total, the metropolis is trying to force 3.6 million vehicles into a tiny road network of just 5,000 kilometers. But blaming this entirely on an overabundance of cars misses the much more fascinating picture. The real reason Manila's traffic presents an unsolvable equation is that the city's physical geometry is fundamentally broken. To understand why pouring more concrete won't save
Intramuros,
Manila, you have to look at how the city is actually built.
Nakakamiss.
The foundational prerequisite of a functioning urban environment is connectivity. Cities like New York or Tokyo rely on a highly connected grid. The mathematical advantage of a grid is redundancy. If one avenue is blocked, traffic pressure organically diffuses through dozens of parallel streets.
Bugs! Grabe, buhol-buhol na. Anong klaseng design to? Parang mapa ng GTA? Oh my goodness.
Dozens of parallel streets, much like water flowing through a highly porous.
No down payment and low down payments ba naman? Magkakasasakyan ka na pag kaya mo monthly. Ito pa, yung ibang mga nagbebenta ng mga vehicle, mapamotor man or four wheels, yung iba ayaw ibenta ng cash. Like straight cash yung mga units nila. Kasi sabi nila, maliit daw ang kikitain kapag binenta ng straight cash compare sa hulugan. What a crazy concept.
A sponge. Metro Manila doesn't have a continuous grid. Instead, it relies on a heavily constrained arterial system. Historically, this wasn't the plan. American urban planner Daniel Burnham drafted a comprehensive grid and boulevard system in 1905, but the brutal urban warfare of World War II virtually erased it. The city was rebuilt haphazardly, prioritizing immediate economic recovery over macro-level urban planning.
Okay.
Today, Manila relies on a semi-web-like network of circumferential and radial roads, but the system is fractured by what urban planners call missing links.
So kumbaga, merong plano, okay? Merong plano, like master plan na maayos na network ng mga daanan. Pero yung plano na yon hindi na-implement dahil sa giyera. Tapos, nasira ng giyera yung plano. Tapos, kailangang kailangang ayusin temporarily yung mga daanan para ma-rebuild agad yung economy ng bansa or at least ng part na to ng Luzon. So, yung temporary na build na yun, hindi na siya naayos. Kumbaga naging permanent na siya sa atin ngayon. It makes sense. It makes sense. Kaya jumble-jumble, spaghetti-spaghetti ang Metro Manila ngayon. Temporarily, naging permanent kasi kinurakot na yung pera. Doon ako nalungkot.
Critical highways physically break off, missing the vital sections
Oo nga
needed
no.
to complete their loops. Circumferential Road 3
Putol oh.
physically misses a massive section connecting Quezon City to Makati. Circumferential Road 5 literally breaks at an expressway
Putol
and
din.
randomly restarts. Because there
Yeah,
is a
ba't ganun?
catastrophic lack of secondary connecting roads, millions of vehicles are violently funneled directly onto these few, incomplete highways. It's the geometric equivalent of designing a massive skyscraper, but forcing all 10,000 employees to use a single narrow hallway to reach their desks. So, if the highways are failing, why doesn't the government just build more parallel secondary roads? The answer isn't a lack of concrete, it's walls. A defining
Walls.
feature of Metro Manila's geography is the overwhelming presence of massive, exclusive gated communities, known locally as villages or subdivisions.
Oh my goodness, BF Homes. Nakapunta na ba kayo dito sa subdivision na to? Brother, this is like a whole freaking city. Actually, mas malaki pa nga. Parang kapag ka nasa loob ka nga nito, multiple cities yung madadaanan mo eh. Okay, ganito yung style Papasok ka sa gate ng subdivision. Para makapunta ka sa destination mo, kailangan mong dumaan ng entrance na gate. Tapos sa loob ng pinasukan mo na subdivision, may isang gate pa ulit. May isang entrance pa ulit. Okay? So, ano yun? Mag-iwan ka ng ID sa labas. Hahanapan ka ulit ng ID sa next na entrance. Yung exit mo, nasa kabilang ibayo, nasa kabilang parte, nasa kasalungat na parte. Pero since may ID ka sa unang entrance, ang gagawin mo, babalikan mo pa yung ID mo, tapos iikot ka pa. Iikutan mo yung buong BF Homes. Imbis na nakat na yung travel time mo, dumagdag pa. 'Di ba? Totoo yan. Ito yung subdivision na may multiple entrance. Merong subdivision na may subdivision pa sa loob.
Spatial analysis shows that these gated enclaves occupy roughly 20% of the total land area in Metro Manila. In the post-World War II era, the government largely left urban development to the free market. Private developers bought up massive tracts of land, creating hyper-exclusive communities like Forbes Park, often dubbed the Beverly Hills of Manila.
Yeah.
These gated communities aren't just a few houses, they are vast. Some match the geographic footprint of entire small towns.
So, ibig sabihin, sa atin lang uso ang subdivisions? Sa ibang bansa, hindi uso ang subdivision? What? So, ibig sabihin, kaya pala maraming subdivision sa Pilipinas. Kasi inopen ng government yung land para sa mga private developers. Hindi siya na plano na as a whole yung land ng government. Kanya-kanyang binili ng lupa. So, eto, gigitan na namin to. Hindi to kasama sa plano ng overall na mga daanan ng gobyerno.
And crucially, they are legally protected private domains. Non-residents cannot drive through them without leaving IDs with armed guards.
Sabi ko sa inyo,
Because
eto mismo yun, Eto mismo yung sinasabi ko. Eto mismong gate na to. Alam niyo nangyari sa amin dito, yung sasakyan namin, nag-avail na kami ng sticker sa inner subdivision. So, di ba, sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina, sa entrance, pagpasok mo ng entrance, may isa pang entrance. So, yung inner entrance na yon or yung inner subdivision na yon, meron ng sticker yung sasakyan namin. Pero, Ang problema, yung unang entrance ng subdivision, wala pa kaming sticker. So, kahit na may sticker na kami dun sa inner part ng subdivision, mag-iiwan pa rin kami ng ID sa unang entrance. Which is bonkers na isipin. Ewan ko kung hanggang ngayon ganun pa rin.
Roads are legally prohibited from piercing these private estates. These villages act as impenetrable concrete dams. If a commuter needs to travel a short distance, but a 250-hectare gated village sits in their path, they are forced to navigate kilometers out of their way,
Ikot
ultimately
ka.
dumping their car back
Yep.
onto failing highways like
Yep.
EDSA.
Yep.
Urban planners have begged to selectively open these gates for alternative traffic routing. But these proposals are consistently crushed by elite residents who prioritize security and exclusivity over metropolitan mobility. The city is literally strangled by its own premium real estate. But the fragmentation isn't just physical, it's deeply political.
Mhm.
Metro Manila isn't governed as a single cohesive unit.
Tapos magbabayad pa kayo nun po. Yung ibang mga subdivisions, inaalaw nila yung mga vehicles na nagpa-pass through. Basta magbabayad ka ng 5 pesos, 10 pesos, 20 pesos. Yung iba, inaalaw nila yung ganun. Pero yung mga exclusive subdivisions talaga, no, sobrang higpit nila. Kailangan alam mo yung pupuntahan mo, iwan ka ng ID, hindi pwedeng hindi ka mag-iiwan ng ID. Honestly, medyo annoying siya. Pero kung gusto mo makasave ng sobrang daming oras, wala, mapipilitan ka magbayad talaga.
It is a political patchwork of 17 distinct local government units, which are further pulverized into hundreds of micro-governments called barangays. The city of Manila alone is subdivided
Barangays.
into 897 distinct barangays. Each operates under its own elected captain with its own localized rules and controls its own microgeography.
So, ibig sabihin, walang barangay sa ibang bansa? Unique to sa Pilipinas? Walang barangay captain sa Japan? Sino nagpauso nito?
And this extreme decentralization routinely ruins macro-level traffic plans. When the national government designates alternate secondary routes to help motorists bypass congested highways, there's a catch. These routes often cut directly through residential barangays. Local residents absolutely hate the sudden influx of outside traffic,
Intramuros.
noise, and pollution. So, what do? They arbitrarily erect boom gates. They implement localized parking ordinances. They allow makeshift structures, sometimes even entire barangay halls, to be built directly on the road, effectively
Yeah.
severing the fragile alternate network.
Yeah.
The national government plays a perpetual game of cat and mouse, deploying special ops groups to physically dismantle illegal structures and tow cars.
Okay, yung sinabi niya doon, ang na-imagine ko si ano to. Sino yun? Yung content creator na si Gabriel? Dati si Nebria, ngayon si Gabriel Go. Yeah. Yun yung mga cat and mouse na naghahabulan literal. Nagki-clear ng mga sidewalks, nagki-clear ng mga obstruction sa daanan.
Often facing fierce local hostility. But the structural incentive remains. Barangay captains are elected to protect the immediate interests of their specific neighborhood, not the macro mobility of the metropolis. Manila is locked in a bitter war of attrition against 1,000 micro-governments. Unable to punch through the walled subdivisions or bypass the barricaded barangays, the national government resorted to the only direction left, up. Billions of dollars have been poured into elevated expressways designed to fly directly over the gridlock. The crown jewel is the Skyway Stage 3, an 18-kilometer elevated tollway. When it opened, it was heralded as the ultimate cure, cutting a 2-hour commute down to 20 minutes. But the triumph was mathematically...
Surprise! Even yung Skyway nagta-traffic. On a good day, yung 2 hours mo gagawin 20 minutes. Pero on a regular day, on a regular rush hour, nagta-traffic din dito sa Skyway.
Doomed to fail, thanks to two interconnected concepts, induced demand and Brace's paradox. In urban economics, induced demand dictates that increasing highway capacity simply encourages more people to drive.
Uh-huh.
The fast new route incentivizes commuters who used to take the bus or avoid peak hours to buy cars and hit the road. Very quickly, the new highway fills up to the exact same congestion level that existed before it was built. Worse,
Hmm.
a mathematical concept called Brace's paradox proves that adding a new shortcut to a network can actually increase total travel time for everyone. Because drivers act selfishly to minimize their own commute, everyone rushes to the new shortcut. In Manila,
Hmm.
drivers
That makes
overutilize the
sense.
skyway, creating massive bottlenecks at the exit points where the elevated highway forcefully dumps cars back into the narrow, unexpanded local roads below.
Gets.
Compounding this mathematical failure is the cost. Because these tolls are largely unaffordable for the average Filipino motorist grappling with high fuel prices, the Skyway effectively functions as a fast lane for the wealthy elite. The vast majority of the population remains trapped in the chaotic, slow-moving bus and jeepney lanes on the ground. It proves a vital point. You cannot toll your way out of a geometric crisis. Metro
Grabe. Parang nakaka-stress pala isipin, no? Ibig sabihin ng Skyway, temporary band-aid solution din siya. What do you mean? What do you mean na yung Skyway na ginastusan ng billion-billion gamit yung tax money ng mga tao, eh band-aid solution lang pala. And hindi siya magiging permanent solution sa overwhelming traffic ng Pilipinas or ng Metro Manila. Kumbaga, para maayos ang traffic, kailangan ng reformat, ganun. Kailangan ayusin yung sistema lahat, like yung mga barangay system, yung mga subdivision system, dapat alisin. Good luck.
Manila is the profound architectural consequence of a city that prioritized private security, exclusive real estate, and localized micropolitics over holistic urban planning and public mobility.
Dali. Ngayon natutunan ko na tayo lang pala ang bansa na may mga barangay. Sa atin lang pala nauso yun. And kapag ka individual ang mga galawan and hindi nag-work as a whole, doon manganganak ng problema. So anong magiging solution natin doon, guys? Ano sa tingin nyo? Wag na mag-Metro Manila, magstay na lang sa probinsya. Bulacan, Clark, Laguna, saan pa? Antipolo, or umalis na lang sa ibang bansa. What is your take?